I thought it would be kind of fun to play with something that, quite honestly, I have a slight addiction to, and that's paper napkins. There's so many times where I actually come upon a pattern or a design and I find myself saying, wow, that would make the coolest card, but it's an extremely fragile material. We have to figure out how to take that material, turn it into something sturdier that you can use on your project. I need to do that quickly, I need to do it easily, and I have a way of not even using any adhesive. Interested? Hey there, I'm Ingrid Blackburn, welcome. I'm all about helping you to get inspired and get creating. Paper napkins are an incredible source of images and patterns that you can use in a variety of ways for many different types of projects. Something to really think about though is paper napkins, they give you a cost-effective way of crafting. Think about it. You get a package of napkins, there's about 20 of them in there. Chances are you're going to have 4 separate panels of images. That's 80 images, all for just a couple dollars. Anybody thinking Christmas cards? Since there are so many different things you can do with this, today I thought it would be helpful if we just focused on the most basic of them. It's a great place to start. So what we have to do is we've got to figure out how to take this super fragile material and turn it into cardstock. To get the most from your design, you're going to want to separate the napkin layers. Every napkin has 2 to 3 plies of paper. We need the topmost layer. The topmost layer has the pattern and all the fun and goodness that's going on. The bottom 2 are more supporting layers, and we need to strip those away before we get started. By utilizing that top transparent layer, we're able to put it on any surface that we want. And don't worry, if you struggle with separating those layers in any way, at the end of this video or in the description below, I'll link a 2-minute video that shows you how to do that easily and perfectly every single time. Now, once you have your layers separated, don't toss those bottom layers. You'll want to use those for a different project. Here you can really see how different your napkin is when those bottom layers are stripped away. Now we need to figure out exactly which part of the napkin we want to showcase. You know, the pattern. Which part of it do you want to actually have on your project? Don't forget to consider balance in your design. I ended up cutting my napkin in 2 because the writing that I had on this particular one, when the napkin's actually folded, the writing all needs to be facing the same way. But the problem is, when you unfold it, the top is upside down. You want to look for little things like that as well. There's one basic sandwich that you're going to want to remember. You'll need a sheet of parchment paper, cardstock, then cling wrap, then you place your napkin on top, and lastly, another sheet of parchment paper. You want to use parchment paper because it's the only kind of paper that doesn't burn. To never get a single wrinkle, you'll want to use an iron. It's important that you make sure that your iron is fully dry and that you also have it preheated to the highest setting. You want to make sure that everything all the way to every edge is fused together rather well. That way it won't come apart. Next up, you're going to want to use long-handled scissors, and you want to make sure to butt those up right against the edge of your cardstock. Make sure that you trim off all that excess. Don't be afraid to do an entire sheet at once too, or maybe a half sheet. You can always trim it down. That way you're doing the work once, and then you can just trim it down for how you need it. Once you have the pieces that you need, accentuate the edges just as you want. I chose to distress some of these, and that way it had a really cool, fun look to it. Now below there's that 2-minute tip video that I told you about on how to perfectly get those layers separated every single time. And right here I have a short playlist with some more ideas, starting with a cool way for you to use those 2 underlayers that we didn't use in this project. So I'll meet you for the next step right there.